So I'm concerned about the timing of things right now. We're pushing to get this bill passed here in the Congress, but right now we've got, I think you talked about it, Joshua, the National Day in China is coming up on October 1st. And I'm concerned about what mainland China's actions are going to be in relation to that, and whether there'll be more violence will result as they try to flex their authority. And I'd like to hear each of you talk about that.
I think a couple of things I want is really important that hasn't been raised. In addition to the question of infiltration and use of decoys, last August 2018, the People's Daily announced the establishment of the Greater Bay Area Police Cooperation Mechanism among Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau. Related to and part of this mechanism, the Guangdong Public Security Department conducted training of key Hong Kong police personnel in Guangdong. This has been followed up on. And one of the questions I think is important to press, either through the UN systems, is to raise the question of really what kind of training? I am pretty sure that the training did not include international standards on appropriate use of force, and the special procedures of the UN special experts just last week issued a joint statement about concern and also raising these questions of the need to make the police, the Hong Kong police, there are very sophisticated, detailed standards on the use of force, that you're supposed to de-escalate, not escalate, you're supposed to reduce harm, not create harm, and that there is a whole range of police crowd control mechanisms, and they're supposed to choose according to proportionality. So I wanted to just emphasize that. On the timing of National Day, I think we can't lose sight of the fact that Xi Jinping is not as powerful as we may think, or as he would like us to think. And that it is true that with the consolidation of power, et cetera, and his no-term limit now, both of the key positions, the fact is, what you're getting to see, the tea leaves, if you look a little more closely, is that the party leaders inside are not happy with the way that Xi Jinping has, quote, handled the Hong Kong situation. And how do we know this? We know this because Carrie Lam, the chief executive, on a Monday, I believe, said, no withdrawal, no, et cetera, I withdrew it, no formal. 2 days later, that kind of disingenuous explanation, I have heard the Hong Kong people. For goodness sakes, it's been 3 months. If you can't hear 2 million, 3 million people, why in 2 days did she suddenly say, I will now formally? So Xi Jinping is actually in a lose-lose situation. It's a no-win situation. He's stuck between the hardliners, who I am pretty much concerned about, are pushing for military force, because he has already shown he's failed. Deng Xiaoping took 2 months, shut down the whole 89 student and the democracy and free trade union movement. We are now in the 3rd month, so under the party's dead time frame on how you can handle these mass disputes, he has failed. So he's in a pretty dicey situation. October 1st, this is not any anniversary. This is the 70th anniversary. So they have invested a year's worth of enormous investment in film festival, special documentaries made. They have said that no Chinese documentaries in the Chinese TV recently, they have to show the history, et cetera. There's an enormous amount of investment to keep the legitimacy and have a wonderful birthday celebration for the country. So he's stuck. It can't look bad. On the other hand, he's stuck between the hardliners and the others who are saying, there's got to be a way to handle this, not the way you're doing it, because now we look terrible. Now we look like the thugs we are. And so I think that is what we should be monitoring are the messages. And just last week, a very strange editorial appeared in Qiushi, which, as you know, is one of the major party organs. And in Qiushi, the editorial pointed out something very strange. It said, whether a country's political, this is our translation, sorry, whether a country's political system is democratic and effective, one needs to mainly look at whether the country's leadership ranks can rotate or alternate, BNT, in accordance with the law in an orderly fashion. What does this mean? We don't know, because just the fact that the Constitution eliminated the term limits for the top office doesn't mean he'll stay. So I think there are some other wild cards that are on the table that we need to keep an eye on in terms of how the US government can think about the options and policy options. Of course, we support the legislative initiatives. This is very important, but I think there's something much bigger underway in terms of the politics in Beijing that will absolutely have an impact on the decisions that will be made pre-October 1st and after.